This was one of the projects that we came up with, bird bath. I don't quite know how the idea emerged, but it was this idea it would be lovely to fill the church with birdsong.
It was very much made for Newhaven, but various people had said, what a wonderful idea. It's so simple, but it really seemed to capture the imagination of people. And then there was an opportunity to bring it to Brighton Festival, and we pitched it and they said, absolutely love it.
We sort of wanted to frame it a bit more because Newhaven had been very small scale and simple, but Alice is an amazing musician and works with an incredible ensemble. I'm very interested in meditation. So we started with the Dawn Chorus Day breakfast, and then we're going to end with a concert and a meditation.
I'm really passionate about bringing nature back into culture. This idea of an eco-social breakfast came up. I'm like, let's listen to the birds and let's share food together.
We created a breakfast here this morning for about 40 people in a banquet style down the centre of the church with a table laid with cloths and everything set out, and we like to serve people at the table so they get a full kind of experience, a really kind of generous experience. The sun's been coming up through the stained glass window looking absolutely beautiful. Everybody's, I think, had a really enjoyable breakfast. It's been a really magical atmosphere in there. The church is full of Sussex birdsong. The audience have been outside listening to the Dawn Chorus on International Dawn Chorus Day. It's just been a really, really lovely event.
One of the unique things of our biosphere, which is the area between the Ouse and the Ada up to the Downs, is this amazing variety of habitats. The soundscape, as well as being a space to bathe, almost abstract acoustic space if you like, it's also a kind of portrait of the biosphere. I've had a lovely month exploring at dawn and dusk mostly the dips and the nooks and the crannies of the Downs. For the Brighton bird bath we start in Newhaven on the beach, and then we travel up the Downs, up on top of Blackcap and Ashcombe Bottom, and then we up to Firle, and then we come down to Cuckmere and then back into the sea. So we do a kind of day in the life of the Downs, travelling around the biosphere.
The Living Coast UNESCO Biosphere is an international designation reflecting the amazing importance of our natural environment, but also this incredibly diverse partnership that sort of supports it, which includes members of various organisations from arts and culture through to conservation and science research, but also local community. Arts really provide another channel for people to engage with nature, just come and experience it and benefit from the health and well-being and uplifting sounds of nature. To bring birdsong that perhaps isn't accessible on a wider scale into the heart of the city and give people the opportunity to really be bathed, as in bird bath and forest bathing, in that sound and that really wonderful, uplifting, joyous sound of nature in the springtime. It's just really powerful and really important to enable many people to experience this, and also to experience our biosphere in different ways.
For so many reasons it felt really interesting to explore bringing very young children into some of the processes, into some of the philosophies of listening, the practices of listening, the practices of deep listening, some really fun practices of kind of listening with contact mics to trees and to woodlice and amplifying the tiny sounds you don't normally hear.
You hear the wind in the trees. You hear that? Yeah. So if you were a creature that lived in the tree, how would you communicate?
We listened to like the birds, like plants, like our footstepping, the wind, like all of the trees.
Today in the forest we were walking, we were listening to the noises around us, and then we went to listen to what the trees were talking about.
We're here today as researchers. We're really interested in different ways of working with children and young people on issues of sustainability, and how do we create opportunities for children really to slow down, to attend to the world in which they live. We're interested in what's happening, how the children are experiencing this encounter with birdsong and the sounds around them. They've now had the opportunity to record their own sounds. They will create a response, if you like, to what they've heard. And then they're going to go and listen to the bird bath installation.
I felt sleepy and I really wanted to hear it more. At the forest we recorded loads of sounds, and then we turned them into like a mix and a beat, which made them really nice, and when we heard them again it felt really relaxing. I think it's a great idea. If every house had it, you would get to hear the outside world inside.
There is a very strong tradition in Tibetan Buddhism that the phenomenal world is not a trap or not a problem, but is actually the gateway into enlightenment. Sound, and particularly the sound of birds, is a natural pathway into that very beautiful, open, empty space that's right at the heart of the meditative experience. During the week, it's completely freeform. You can stay for 5 minutes, you can stay for 5 hours, you can do whatever you like. There's no framework at all. It's whatever happens. You snooze, if you daydream, that's wonderful. And then the concert, of course, is a bit more structured in the sense that I'm going to be inviting us to meditate with the birds, and then Alice is going to invite us to play.
Collectress is an ensemble that I've been playing with we've been playing together for nearly 25 years, and our first album we recorded in this church, so it's a very special place for us. The piece we're going to play is actually inspired also by a stream restoration project, so our performance will start in this small stream that's lost its way since medieval times, and it's sort of being released back into create a wild wetland, and then our music will take you down on a path down to the sea, down to New Haven, and that's when you know you've arrived, and then we'll invite the audience to come and join us with the birds as well.
For me, in the core, it is about a space to relax and rest, and to engage in a heightened way with natural sounds.
A very gentle form of activism to resist capitalism, to resist extractivism, and just to sit and be and remember that nature is culture. Not to conceptualise, not to theorise, but just to feel that we are really part of nature, and to remember our place in the wider patterns of life.
I grew up with lots of birds, but at the same time there's a sense of loss, because where I grew up there were very, very many more birds than you see now.
What struck me about it was that it brought to mind all the wonderful things of nature that there are around us that combat the garish inauthenticity of the modern world.
The words bird bath just almost like tell you how it is. You know, I felt that I was completely immersed in all the bird song and the sound of the waves. It's lovely.